favorite subject, and one of the things that everyone talks about when it comes to creative content. I don't know what to create. Original content I'm talking about today. But I'm going to show you some secrets. I'm going to tell you what we use and how I help my clients, and it's how I do it in my own business. And this is what you can do too. So how to create original content week after week like a pro. I'm going to share a magical world of batching with you, which eliminates content creation stress and overwhelm. Who doesn't want to get rid of all the stress and overwhelm when it comes to content marketing and creating content? Because it's very important for us to create original content from us, even though that we might get some inspiration from others that I'm going to share with you, even though that we do get inspiration from what other people post and what's important, especially when you're starting out. However, we do want to have our own opinion. We want to have, because there's no another Caroline, there's no another Carrie, there's no another Wendy. There's you. Your experience is unique to you. So how you help your client is definitely unique. So then we're going to talk about how to find projects in your business that are perfect for batching. I know we're going to talk about creating content, original content, and how to do it. But I'm going to share where you can actually use this method that is just industry secret. You can use it in other part of your business. I'm going to go through the 7 steps to wonderful world of content creation list. This is the step I go through. Every time we have a team member or something that happens, they go through the same training with me, because and I teach it to my client too. This is what I use. You're more than welcome to add another one or take some steps out of it, but that's what I use for my own business. And then we go through some Q&A. All right. So if you don't know me, this is me. Hi, I'm Neda. I got my own business. I'm a digital marketer. I've got a digital marketing agency, boutique agency. We specialize in social media marketing and advertising for service-based business. And if you're here, you must know something. You must know about Digital Solutions and Business Stations. I'm one of the advisors, which I'm very, very excited about. So I've got some experience, my background, and coffee lover and gin soda. My favorite. Please connect with me. I would love to connect and get social with you. That's why they're there. They're there for us to get connected. Okay, so before we go ahead and talk about content batching, it's very important for us to create original content. And I'm going to share why creating original content is important. One of the reasons it builds your brand. Especially when you're starting out, it never stops. To be honest with you, even for the businesses who've been doing this and the clients that we have, they've been doing it for a while. It never stops, because there is always new set of new audiences come along, new customers coming along, and you still want to build that brand, and it's very important. One of the biggest things that helps to grow the business, we talk about content and creating original content, you develop a trust and deeper relationship between your business, yourself, and your audience. And that's very important, because in order for us to trust someone that is the right person to help us, we need to see something. And that content you create, that develops a trust. You become a trusted go-to source for your niche. So you become an authority in that niche and become a go-to source. And that's what we want. So if they have any questions, if they have any concern, they're going to come and say, oh, I've got to come to this person because I've seen all the great material and content they create. They've got an opinion. We like leaders in the industry. We don't like followers. We love people follow leaders. And you could be, when you're creating original content, you could be the leader in your niche and in your industry. Search engine optimization. That is so important. When people talk about it, people search for you, SEOs, all the content you create is search engine optimized, meaning when someone searches for certain keywords, certain phrase, certain question that your content covers, you will come up. Topic of interest, you absolutely learn. One of the biggest things is you learn what your audience wants to hear, what product and services your audience need that you can provide. There is your market research. You connect with your audience at the early stages of your buying journey, because people go through the journey before they take the next step, before they buy from us, before they buy from anybody. So you want to connect in the earliest stages of journey, which they're just thinking about. Something happens, this sparks some interest, and they start doing research. So you provide the content, they read your content, and they go, oh, wow, I didn't know I can do this. This is the early stages of your buying journey because it's cheaper. When we go and advertise to the low-hanging fruit, and this is where 10 to people think the advertising is selling, the leads cost is higher, the competition is higher. So it absolutely helps when you create original content and you connect with your audience in the early stages of their buying journey. And so much more. It does bring so much more benefit to the business. Your content marketing and you're creating original content, it should be one of the biggest components of your marketing strategy for your business. So one of the things is, people go and start content without having any plan. They just randomly create a content. It's just haphazardly, and it becomes overwhelming. And why do you need to have a plan? Why do you need to have a system? Is you create content where you feel inspired or have time. One of the things that kills a lot of inspiration for creating content is when we don't have time, we just in a rush. Well, Neda said, I have to create a content, so I've got to create something. And we just don't get the best result. And it's all about, in the meeting, our training this morning, I said that it's not about quantity anymore, it's about quality. So, and you need to have a system, because you be stressed out and have no idea what to create. This is another one. We just get so stressed to create it, and there's just, everything gets blocked. Inconsistent and reactive with content. When we're inconsistent, we're reactive in content. We don't know, for example, trending. What's the topic trending? What is happening now? And our customers, it's just inconsistent and reactive content doesn't resonate with our audience. Posting random content, which absolutely does not help. It definitely helps for you to have a plan and system. And we confuse our audience. This is the last thing we want. They do not understand why do they even follow us? They don't even get it. They're like, oh, well, I don't know what's going on, because none of the content we're posting, because we don't have a system or plan, none of the content we're posting is actually resonates with them. And we don't want that, because the moment we confuse them, we lose them. And you work so hard to build that connection with them. You don't want to lose them. So I'm going to tell you an industry secret. There's a better way to create consistent and original content without that stress and overwhelm. And that's, my friend, is the industry secret. If you've seen something, if you see people creating content week after week and building their blogs and everything, they do have a system in place. And what they do is they do content batching. This is, everyone in the industry does that. They do batching. Even in my business, I'm going to tell you something, even if you do have a business, and even if you think that this person might have resources in the background who helps them, when my team creates the social media posts, for example, they never ever go and create a graphic first. There's always a content writer. So content writers go through everything, will go through the briefing from the client, and then they start doing some research, then they start writing the content. Then someone else will do the hashtag. So based on what we're actually creating, then we research some hashtags. Sometimes clients will tell us the hashtags, but we do some hashtag research to help. Then when everything is good, we go to creating graphics. This is just, that's how we do it. Otherwise, it's just out of control. There is no focus for the team. And it's exactly the same for us. This is what I noticed that helps with mine. And that's what I do. I'm very, very fussy about it. Everyone has to follow. I'm a bit relaxed when someone new starts in my team, but it gets to a certain point within the 3 weeks they have to go through this training, that how we do it. So it's very important. We batch our tasks. We don't just randomly move from one thing to another. So what is content batching? So batching obviously means putting something together, right? But in here, when you group similar tasks, aka creating content, together to work on at the same time without interruption, that's your content batching. You might batch writing your social media posts for the week. You might put aside 3 hours on Monday and say, every Monday afternoon, Monday morning, I check my emails, go through some stuff. Every Monday afternoon, I'm going to put aside 3 hours that I'm only going to concentrate to creating social media posts for next week, for the next 5 days, or for the next 7 days. So if you do any other content, if you're doing blogging, you might want to, which we're going to go through, you might want to decide to batch your blog topic, your outline, 2 days a month. If you're doing podcasts, if you're doing videos, if you're using YouTube. So you sit down and get those outline ready, get probably the whole outline ready first, and then you write the whole blog post, podcast, or your video, show notes and everything else with no interruption. So this is how important it is. I have to say, no interruption. So for example, this training that I created, to be honest with you, we don't go and create this content at one go. Look, at the moment, I'm doing a Facebook ad. So what I've done is I've created the outlines for that training that I'm going to do. So then when I create the outline, then I'll go and create my content. Then I'll go and create my slides. So because it's just not possible for me to do it. I batch it. So batching can save you time, stress, trust me with stress, and effort. So I hope you already can see the benefits. But let me give you a top reason why batching could save you time and stress. And as a small business owners, we do have enough stress in our lives. We don't need more, okay? We don't need, the last thing we need is another stress of creating content, as Neda said we need to. So it actually increases your focus. This is something that helped me so much. It increases my focus to work on a task that you designate a period of time to. So being more focused means better quality of work. So because you focus your effort while batching, distraction are majorly reduced and eliminated, because it's so important, because that's what you're thinking about. You focus, I think Tony Robbins says, where you focus, wherever you focus, your energy flows. So I have to admit, though, this requires it does require willpower, and it's your decision. You have to make that decision to say, do you want to do this or not? The reason I say that is it all comes down to us as business owners. It all comes down as to, do we want to do this? Because there's always something going to come up, always. If we don't have that focus time for ourselves and for our content, we're always going to come up. So next one, it decreases your distraction. One thing I have to say, no task or context switching. This is so important. So there should be no context switching. What I mean by context switching is when you switch back and forth between tasks. Like I said, if I am doing my workshops and I'll do outline, and then I'll go, oh, you know what? I actually want to create for example, the header. I'll do the outlines and I want to do the slides now without even knowing what I'm going to talk about. So when I'm doing the outline, I forget where my mind was to create and sit down and actually write about that. And I think that study has shown that every time you switch tasks, it takes you about 20 minutes to half an hour to get back and do that task. And imagine how much time we lose if we do that. So no task or context switching. We got to stick to it. So we talked about it definitely increases your productivity. It has increased my team productivity. It has increased my own productivity. And this is coming from my own experience, and it absolutely helps. One thing that helps me is allows me to have I call it white space, allows me to have that time to think about some other stuff, to daydream, It's so important. I read something totally different. It gives me that white space to be creative, because we absolutely, our brain needs that time. I'm not a neuroscience, but our brain needs that time to relax, to be creative. We just let it to be free. If you keep concentrating on one task consistently, keep touching the same project every single day in your business, you're not allowing for that creativity to flow. And and freedom and flexibility to focus on the things that really move your business forward. So if you don't give that enough, that flexibility to your brain, if you don't batch it and just stay away from it, give yourself a break and stay away from the similar task over and over, you absolutely get your creative juices flowing. So to batch or not to batch, I hope is not the question you're asking yourself right now. I know we're not talking about the content, but the question you should be asking yourself is now, what are the other areas I can batch in my business? I'm going to tell you, as small business owner, I'm a small business owner myself, and I didn't have help when I started. I needed to do something. There was no way I could do everything myself. And this thing worked in other areas of my business. And I still do that. For example, my workshops for Business Nation, it's only on one day. I don't do it any other day. I only batch all of them in one day, because that will help me to concentrate on other things, for example, advisory and everything else. So it shouldn't just be in just in content creation. You can absolutely use it in other areas of your business. Writing has been the biggest. For example, if you're doing blog posts, video script, if you're comfortable with videos, if you do podcasts, show notes for the podcast, email newsletters to your subscribers, your social media posts and your lead magnets and octave page copies. This is obviously from my experience, but the blog posts and any other thing, the social media posts, that is the writing for those, like creating content, copies for them. It's one of the biggest thing when it comes to the business. So this is definitely something you can use as part of your batching. The second one that I've noticed from my business, recording, like videos or podcasts, or even if you do training videos. If you have groups or membership that you go live and do, not live, sorry, live you cannot be pre-recording. If you do them and you, for example, as part of your coaching program, you say you get 3 or 4 videos per month, once a week, or whatever that agreement is, you can absolutely batch recording them. It's so good. It helps you to have videos. It helps you to be consistent. Other stuff that you can actually use. Your daily emails. You can put time aside. Half an hour in the morning, depends how it is. Half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the afternoon. Check your emails. Your customer service. If you have a specific email that the customer sends you email and you don't have any support or you don't have any help, there it is. You can spend half an hour midway about lunchtime, let's say. It depends on how you want to do it. And just do that. Your bookkeeping, your social media engagement. This is very important. A lot of people tell me, I don't have time to engage, because one of the things is we need to engage with people who engage with us. So they say, well, wait, I don't have time to do this. Set time aside. Set time aside. Get your calendar in, or get yourself a reminder. Get Alexa to send you a reminder, and just connect with your audience. Your clients meeting, for example, if you have group or individual coaching, stick to one day. It's okay. We need you, all right? If you have a set time or set day for your coaching clients, just pick one day and say, this is the day I'm available for coaching. Your post creative, obviously, even your social media posts, we're going to go through the steps I'm going to talk to you about. Even if you want to upgrade your website content, you can say every 3 months. This is how, probably I'll go too far. This is how every 3 months you have it in your calendar and you just stick with it. There's so much you can do when you stick to batching your task. There's no context switching. You do your daily email and that's it. I've answered my emails. I've done this. I've done that. I'm not going to check my email until the next morning or until this afternoon. Okay, so now we talked about what we can do, because I am so excited about batching. It helped me so much, and I want to share with you. It doesn't have to be with content. So now when it gets to the content, this is what we do. I go through the 7 steps for my own business. So step 1, we do content planning. Step 2, we do topics and brainstorming and research. We do content outline. Step 4, content delegation. If you do have a team who does that for you. Step 5, content creation and repurposing. Then we do review and editing, and then we schedule. Every single step on its own is batching. So we batch the content planning, we batch the topic brainstorm. So let's go through them one by one as to how we do it. I'm just going to come back to everyone. Is everyone all right? Have I lost anyone? You can still good. You can hear me. Good. Good. That's good. That's good. Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Let's begin. Let's go with the step 1. Again, they can be batching on their own. So step number 1 is planning. So I usually give 2 hours to the planning. I am way into this batching, but so it means that I've got more content and everything else. So I've sort of got used to this. So I always recommend maximum 2 hours. For me, it doesn't take that long. But when you're starting out, even if you don't, I give myself 2 hours. I think there's a Parkinson law that they say amount of time you give to the task, you will take that amount of time. I don't know how I say it. I'm probably rephrasing it, but maximum 2 hours. And in that 2 hours, we plan. Planning is always the key. Number 1, I always decide how many blog posts, how many videos, how many podcasts that I want to batch. Like the topic, how many do I want to create for 4 weeks, or do I want to create for 6 weeks? Or at the moment, what I'm doing is, in my case at the moment, we're talking about since 2018, I do have someone who helps me out, and we go with 8. So that's how, but when I started, I did it for 4 weeks, okay? So it wasn't 8 weeks, I've got the help and everything else. Is very, very different. But decide on how many content you want to create. We want to go through, what I'm discussing here is once a week. So when I say 4, I mean 4 weeks. So when I say 6, I mean 6 weeks. I don't mean 4 in 6 months, okay? So how many blogs do we want to do? We want to do 4 blogs. Let's say we're going to do 4 to 6 blogs. So we decided how many we're going to do. Then I'll go through the promotional calendar. So what I mean by the promotional calendar is I sit down and work out how often do I want to promote the business? How often do I want to bring leads in? Because you have to continuously work at bringing consistent flow of leads in. For example, for the first quarter of the month, this year, we are actually fully with the agency, and we're not taking any client until 1st of April. So what that means is, when I'm creating content for March, when I'm thinking about end of March, we need to talk about about the products and services that we're creating. So then I go, okay, so I'll go through the promotional calendar. We're not doing any promotion for the first 3 months. The promotion starts in April. So then I plan, in that 4 weeks I'm doing, do I need to create content that has something to do with the promotion I'm gonna do with one of the services, for example, in the business. So I check the promotional calendar. Then the next thing I look at, if there is any events in that, for example, for yourself, if you're going to go for 4 weeks, in that 4 weeks, is there any events coming up relating to my business and my audience? The reason I do that is when I go to look for the content topic, if I brainstorm content topic, then I will look into talking about the event. Do I need to talk about the event? Do I need to write about the event? Do I need to have a post that talks about the event? Doesn't necessarily mean the blog, but I need to know, is there an event coming up? I know with some of the businesses and with some of the restrictions that we have with COVID, there's not a lot of events or expos happening, especially. So I don't know, Perth. I don't think we had any expos, to be honest, lately. So I know there's not a lot of face-to-face events happening. So I might not something coming up in the next 4 weeks, but I want you to look into it. Any special day that relates to your business. This is, for example, if you have, I don't know, if you're in a hospitality and there's a World Chocolate Day coming up. There's something relates that happens in that 4 weeks to decide, okay, any special day coming up. The next one we'll look at is there any special holidays or any vacation we're taking? This is something that you need to be comfortable with. I am very comfortable if I'm going on holiday, if I'm going to do something, I'm absolutely comfortable to share it. This comes down to you and how you're comfortable with it. However, I always look at business and I go, will my tribe will be interested to hear about this? If I'm traveling for example, I wanted to go to San Diego for the social media marketing expo, but I couldn't because we're restricted on the travel. And if I go, I can't come back. So if there was something that absolutely helps, like I learned something and it's something that my audience would love to see, which I can guarantee you they do, then I consider that when I am planning my next 4 weeks of content. So then when we create, so we've gone through the plan and we thought, okay, so there's could be this event coming up. I don't have any, I've got promotion coming up in April. We're going to talk about some of the products and services that were created. So now I know all of that. I'm not going to go anywhere. There is no expos happening, but I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go 4 weeks. There is no expos coming up, but I want to talk about, I'm going to have, for example, we're going to go hit hard in April, advertising about the business. And we're going to talk about social media advertising, social media management, because that's the service that we added last year. And we're going to talk about it this year. We're going to increase clients and we're going to do SEO. So then I go, okay, so I'm going to talk about these two in April. I need to find content topics that will relate to these services. I'm actually telling you exactly what I do in my business, and you can do exactly the same. So then we talk about content topic brainstorming and research. So we set aside, again, maximum 2 hours to come up with the content topics and flesh them out a bit. So the reason I say flesh them out a bit, I just want to know, does it make sense for us to invest all that time and talk about it? Does it going to help my client? Does it going to talk about, for example, we're going to do some promotion on April. This is definitely going to help our promotion. We're going to, excuse me, we're going to review them. And if they align with your goal, then you're good to start the next action step. It's the content that is going. So when we're talking about what topics or what to look for, so you're going to think about it's the content that is going to provide value to your audience and make you the small business that they trust to do business with. You got to remember, we're not talking about selling in here, okay? We're talking about creating original content. Like, I love talking. Excuse me, sorry. So now we talked about, so what we need to think about is, so topic. When I say brainstorm or review your topics, you might be thinking, hang on, how do I know my content topic? Where will I get my content topic? This could be you. Just a little secret I'm going to tell you. When you actually sit down to write about what you want to write about, funny enough, your creative juices does not flow. You have no idea what you're doing. It's funny that all the creative time and all the ideas come to us, either in the shower or you're watching Netflix or you're in the car, you're driving, or someone asks you a question and you're like, oh, that's what I want. And sometimes, even though I say it's good to sit down and write about topics, when we're sitting down to do it, it's not coming up. Like, it's just nothing comes up. And you're like, I don't know where to get these ideas. I don't know what to do. So it's very, I don't know what to do. So I suggest for you to keep a little notepad for yourself. What I have is, so at the moment, so before I had a team that does the topic research as well, is I still have a notepad on my phone. So I've got a notepad that every time something comes up, I use Siri as well, because Siri is really good taking notes. So something comes up, I've got a little note that it says content idea. So it's nothing fancy. And to be honest with you, some of the sentences does not make sense, but as a topic or as anything, but it triggers me to go, oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. So I've got this that I write down, but then we have a spreadsheet, a depository, we'll call it depository, a fancy name for a depository. So I've got a spreadsheet that if something comes up and I think about something and it's on my notepad, at the end of the day or at the end of the week, I'll go in and I update the contents, a topic section of that spreadsheet. I have access to it, my VA has access to it, and the copywriters that I've got helps me out have access to it. So everyone, when something comes up, like my VA will type something in there. I've got a customer service manager who looks after our clients, and when clients ask a question, they fill that out. They actually go through it and go, okay, this could be something that we can talk about. I know that what I'm telling you, I've got people who actually help me out, but when I started, I didn't have it. I only had this notepad and I had that spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet that everyone's using at the moment, it's the same spreadsheet, simple spreadsheet that I just dumped in my ideas. I didn't think about stuff. I just put it in there. The moment you think about it too much, and you want to make it pretty and does it make sense, doesn't it make sense, it just doesn't help. So just write down everything. I'm actually going to share what I do when it comes to finding a topic. So let's go through that. Let's go through how. Okay, it's a little secret. I want you to set a time aside. So before you start out, this is if you don't have any content depository. So set a 10. I'm going to go through some method with you. So the first thing is brain dump. Put 10 minutes aside. Actually, put a 10-minute timer on. Give yourself a pen and a piece of paper. Start the timer and just start writing. Always ask yourself, so what you do is picture your client and say, what do they want? What do they need that if I create a content, it's actually going to help them? What kind of content can I create that is going to help them? Or where are they at their journey? Are they just thinking about buying my services? And what questions would they have? What content will help them right now? And use that as a free flowing. Okay, no judging, no looking back, no worrying about if it's if the spelling is correct. None of those. You just putting word down, maybe phrases, maybe questions, maybe anything that you think that it actually relates to your business. Please, no editing. Don't worry about if it looks good. Don't worry about if it's if anyone thinks that your handwriting, no judging of the handwriting, okay? Don't look at it and say, oh my God, look at my handwriting. No one can read it. Well, doctors are exactly the same and no one cares. So the beauty of brain dumping is you're not looking for any perfection here, okay? This exercise is a really good way to begin your content planning session because it gets your creative juices flowing and will generally knock out any writer's block. If you have any writer's block and you can't move, we just allow our brain to go free flowing. We let our brain, it's silly, but I always tell my brain, you know what, you can do and write down whatever you want and just let it go. Even, I have to tell you, even the first time you might only come up with one topic, especially when you're starting out, you might come up with one topic and that's okay. This is not a race. This is about you getting a system in place, creating original content so you can help your client, and ultimately you can serve them and build your business, okay? We don't do any judging. We don't do any of those. That 10 minutes, my friend, is your friend. The next one is you can absolutely ask your audience. So this is if you have an audience. If you have audience, create a Google form or SurveyMonkey. You can ask 2 or 3 short questions, open the question, and just let them answer you. And what I would like you to do is, this is something that's very important. If you're lucky enough that you have audience at the moment and you're lucky enough for them to get back to you and fill out that form, is use exactly the word they use. Because if you use that and you create content around that and use the same tone and language, you resonate with them. So another way to research your topic, ask your audience. This is so important. The next one, this is obvious, the content theming, it gets really technical. What I mean by content theming is, remember in our planning stage, we talked about, I'll look at to see if we're doing any promotion. We are going to do some promotion. For example, I'm giving you my example. We are going to do some promotion in April because we're adding a couple of services to my business. So then we theme our content around what we're doing, around, for example, SEO, around Google My Business, around social media management. So I theme it around the services I provide, which you can do exactly the same thing because it's very important. This is just original content. This is organic strategy. This is what you're creating. And you're answering your audience's question. You're helping your audience to realize you are the best and best. Your product is the best solution to what they need. So we theme the content to what we're going to promote, which could be SEO. I haven't thought about it yet, but it could be SEO, social media management. So that's where the content theming comes handy, which as your business grows, you know exactly what to do. Before I go to the next one, if you can, I know this is beginning of the year, put aside promotional calendar. Put aside this big calendars on your wall and put in there once a month, you're going to talk about your product, or every 3 months, you're going to promote one service in your business. Because as a business, you always have to promote your business. Okay, so the next one, your previous content. So if you have been producing content before, you can always go back to your content and see which one worked best. But what I mean by worked best was which one resonated with your audience. You got a lot of engagement. And from that, if it's a blog post, there was comments. If there was a social post, people were asking questions about it. Then you can go back and you don't have to repeat that. But what you can do is you can dig in deeper. You can expand on it. If there is any changes about it, like this year from last year, if there was content posted last year, then you can expand on that content. You can absolutely do it. You don't have to repost it, but you can expand and dig in deeper with that content because, hey, your audience told you this is what they want to hear. Next one, which is the easiest one, ask Google. It's the best place. Google and YouTube, it's the research-based platform. And that's what people do all day. They go in there to search. And Google has so much data to tell you what people are looking for. So I'm going to quickly show you how. I don't know if anyone here uses Google, and do you know how to use Google? This is very simple. I'm talking about the free things. Has anyone know how to use Google to get some ideas as to what to write or what content to create or what customers are asking? Yes, no? Yes, for what people search for. Okay, I'm going to show you quickly. This is the cheapest option and the free option. Ask in the search bar. So I'm going to show you. So for example, I like playing golf. Well, I like playing golf, but I'm not very good at it. And I don't have any, and I haven't had any, I haven't had any training, but I swing the golf clubs and see what happens. So what you do is when you go to Google and say learning how to play golf, let's say how to play golf. So that's the first thing you type, right? Usually, probably not a lot about golf. Most of the time, the things that comes up is the advertising. Usually it's the advertising. Then as you go down, this YouTube video comes up. YouTube is another source of research and is free. As you go down, see how it says people also ask, how do you play golf step by step? How do you play golf for beginners? What are the rules of golf games? Is golf easy to play? So if you are a golf teacher, put your hand up. Study, I need help. But if you, it's got nothing, it might not be your industry, but this is so gold because it actually tells you people also ask this. So if you are teaching golf, you can actually write about how do you play golf step by step. You don't have to repeat this because not everyone teaches golf. Not everyone teaches golf exactly the same. How you write is very different. You write to the different audience because you could be teaching golf to people, to older generation. You could be teaching golf to younger generation. If you're teaching golf, for example, to, I don't know, 3 to 10-year-old, then you can say, how do you teach a kid, 3 to 10-year-old, how do you teach them step by step? How do you play golf for beginners? And that golf for beginners could be older people or younger people. What are the rules of the golf game? This is something that the person can absolutely do. Another thing I want to say, this is what we see what people ask. Then let's come down. This is my favorite part. We come all the way down and says, how to play golf. How to play golf rules. These are the questions. These are the other things that people ask. So, for example, if we play, how to play, okay, let's get back to, does anyone wants us to play?
The first thing you'll probably want to do is check your work email and Outlook. Here's how to get started.
If you want, we can actually test it.
Open the Start menu.
With, if you're comfortable. No? So does that make sense? Is that making sense? How you can actually use Google for your business to do the search? And every time you press, for example, every time we press, let's say step by step, so we press that and say step by step. So let's see, how to play golf, and copy this for adults maybe. Oh, golf for dummies. Oops. Let's see. So you copy this. So this is how you can expand. When I learn how to copy and paste, this is how much you can expand. So you put that in there, and then other things comes up. So if that's what you search, then other things comes up down here with the feedback. You can even put for adults. So if someone teaches golf for adults, then you can absolutely do that. How can you teach yourself to play golf? This is absolutely something I've tried. You can't, because you just
search for Outlook.
You're just doing it wrong.
And choose it.
So it's so important. It gives you so much. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's right there. You can keep playing with it and keep expanding.
Enter any additional email addresses that you want to use, such as your previous or personal email address.
You come down here. You can check to see what else is in there.
Enter a password if prompted.
Golf club to
then
carry.
select Sign in.
This is actually good.
Once all of your accounts
so then
added,
it comes up
choose
other searches that people have done. People also ask, do I need to carry 14 golf club? Do they? You don't.
It may take several minutes for Outlook to download your email
really
and other data. Now you can view email for the accounts you added. You can also view your calendar,
Can you hear me now?
contact,
Caroline and Jane.
Yeah, I was on mute, but then
You're
there was
not
all this.
mute.
I'm not now, but there was.
Okay, no worries.
There was somebody that.
Jane and Caroline, did you want to did you have that? Did you want to?
There was
You're not mute. You are muted. I just want to know if there was any questions.
Yes. Can you hear me, Nita?
No. Okay. All right. Let's go back to where we were.
Someone was trying to
Google is absolutely different. It's free. There's a lot of other platforms that's Ask Anyone or Ask the Public is another one. Oh, good. Oh, good up to now. Okay, perfect. Oh, all right. So there's another one, another platform called Ask the Public. There's another website that you can ask questions and it gives you all the information, but you have a limited search. I like Google and YouTube. It helps me, but there's other platforms that you can do. To me, is if it is a free platform, I can use, why not? So Google is your best friend. Okay, so now we've done the content topic. We decided 4 topics. That's what we're going to talk about. When we got a topic, then we're going to go and create outlines for the topic. This comes down from my English teacher was telling me, because I was so bad at it. I'm not really good at writing. So it said it helps when you have outline or subheadings. So this is again a batching session by itself. So you have 4 topics. Let's say we decided we're going to write 4 blog posts. You have 4 topics, and now we're going to sit down and do an outline. For example, a subheading for you're going to create the heading and the subheading, so which is the outline. So for the videos, like when I do videos, I'm not really good at outlines. I write. So me personally, I do the outline, but when I have the topics, the only thing I do headings, and then I start writing, even for the video. And that's absolutely fine. You've got to do what works for you, because we're all different. These are only suggestions that worked, and I had to put it in a step so it makes sense for myself and for my team. I like steps. I like to have plan, and I like to have systems in place. It helps me. So that's what I've created this. So after you decide your final topics, then you're happy with the time to put together an outline before you start the process of creating a long form. So it will definitely help you to create your long form. The reason I say create the outline is because the next step, I don't think I have, it's because the next step that I do, step 4, is a content delegation. This is if you have people, the copywriters, the graphic designer, that like you have people who help you with it. This steps doesn't have to be here. When I started, I did not have these steps because I was doing it myself. If you do have a resource that helps you out, I do create my outline. I do create a topic I want and the heading I want inside there. When I've got that, if I'm doing it myself, I just write, especially video is so easy for me. I just write, put dot points and move on. But the reason I want you to do the outline, I'll do it these days because I hand it over to my copywriter to write it for me. But I always make sure I have the outline, and I always make sure what is it, because my audience are small business owners. They know, like she knows what our audience are at the like now, because beginning it was taking time for them to learn. I always do the heading and the subheading if I can. There's always going to be a heading. And the reason I do the outlines and I added the step in there is because I'm handing it over to someone to write this for me. If you don't, outline still helps you. But if you don't have anyone to hand it over to help it or delegate it, then forget about your step 4. So you've done your topic, you've done the outline. Now I need you to batch time to write. Writing and repurposing. So you can have another step. You can make it writing and recording and repurposing another step. But for me, all of them are together. The writing and recording and repurposing at the same time, because I'm already inside, I'm already creating content, and I know what sort of snippet I want to take out from my long form to repurpose. So what I mean by repurpose, so when you write your long form blog posts or your videos or your show notes, the repurposing part is is the practice of reusing all or elements of your existing content in order to expand that content's reach. So what it does for me, the reason I've got it together is because I'm already in that head space that I'm reading the content, I'm writing the content. And as I'm reading it, I can easily repurpose. I can easily grab a snippet of it and say, this is actually a good social post. This is because posts are supposed to be small. It's not long form. So I can actually take a snippet. If there is something to do, if there is a quote in the long form, in my blog or in the show notes that I'm talking about or I'm referencing, and I think this is actually a good quote for the audience to see, I'll create a quote post. Like I can take some different section of it and make it into a small social media post. If there is a video, if it's a long video, I'll go, okay, I can divide this video. There is 4 or 5 sections out of this 15 minutes or 20 minutes video I've done that I can make it into 2 or 3 minute videos and I can post them. If there is any interesting fact, for example, if you're writing this and you come across as part of your research into interesting facts that is good to share, guess what? There's your post. Statistics are good, step by step, that stands out. For example, you can actually, if part of it is step by step, you can actually create a post as step by step. You can create another blog post for the step by step newsletters. This is so good. A lot of business owners tell me, oh, but I've got to do newsletters or email marketing as well as my blog post, as well as something else. We never, ever recreate an email. I've always taken it from the blog post I've written and just repurposed it and made it into the email. I never go and create something new because it's just not possible, especially if you don't have any resource. Even for me that I have the resource, we use that. We don't have to recreate something. So you can absolutely use that for yourself as well. So that's the repurposing part. Then we move to review and editing. This is, again, it's very important. If you're doing it yourself, that's fantastic. This is if you're actually giving it to someone else to do it. Even if it's in your team, even though like my team will know how I talk, how I do it, I still spend time and review them. Nothing, even for the clients, nothing goes out unless the client or myself, because I'm the client as well, or myself, 100% sure that this is talking to my audience because my business is my baby. I work so hard to get it to where it is. I'm lucky. I've got people that help me and they're really good. I still think it's my responsibility as a business owner to check. And if there's anything needs to change, they need to get edited. So it's very, very important for you to review it, to make sure that you edit and review. Even for ourselves, I've got Grammarly who helps me. That I paid for the Grammarly, which is a software that helps you to see if you're writing correctly. And English is my second language. And sometimes I don't know if it makes sense what I'm writing. But reviewing and editing is very important for me. And I'm very fussy to make sure that what we put out there, even for our clients, what we put out there actually represents their business. So I will never get rid of that step 6. Step 6, reviewing and editing, always exists. There's your batching, all right? You can batch the reviewing for 2 hours or 3 hours, however it is. The better you get, or if you have a team member who help you out, the more they work with you, then they learn more about you and it's get easier. So it's just a quick review, but it always needs to be reviewed before it goes out. The next one, so you've done everything. Guess what? Now you've got to schedule it. Everything is created. You've gone through creating amazing original content for your audience, and now you can schedule your 4 weeks of blog posts, your social media posts, your 4 weeks of emails to your emails newsletter, to your database is done, your videos and your podcast is already done and recorded. And if you've got any membership specific content, It's all done and you can schedule. There's nothing to think about. For the next 4 weeks, my friends, you just have to invest and spend time on your audience and yourself. Actually, you're going to look after yourself. So there it is. These are the 7 steps we go through. This is exactly what I do in my business. System is what I love. It helps me to be in control, and it helps me to be create original content, I guess. So you can always add to it. You can always take it out. Whichever doesn't work for you, please take it out. Take that as a sample and as an example and use it to make it your own. All right, so any questions, my friends? If you have any questions, let's go through them. All right, how's everyone doing? I hope I wasn't that boring. Okay. No worries, Carrie. I hope it was helpful. Not a problem, not a problem, Caroline. Is there anything, apart from content, do you think you will use batching in your business? Do you think you'll put a time aside to do your bookkeeping? I don't know if you are doing your own bookkeeping or even selling, to be honest, even calling your clients. It definitely helps. It helps me. I love system. Yeah, batching is amazing. I love system. It's actually because I'm very creative. I need to have a system in place so I can follow step by step and then let my mind to go crazy. Great, Jane. I'm glad. All right. So if you don't have any questions, did you want to share, maybe use that as a networking event if you want to share your page or if you want to connect, because you never know, you might need your product or service. No? All good? Let's see what you do, Wendy. Do you mind if you share it? Your website? Is that okay? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Still naturally. Oh. Okay. Does it? Oh my God, that's really good. Because the amount of you probably know more because you created those bags. Because how much we waste. Absolutely. It's crazy. Like, I know how much we actually waste. How much it's crazy. Even though, like, I've got chickens, and they're so fussy even to go eating other stuff, and there's so many stuff is not good for them. So you got to be careful. But this is really good. That's really good. All right, everyone. That's the first business. So if you need any bags to keep everything natural, please. All right, let's see. Carrie.
It actually makes makes your vegetables, fruit and vegetables, last a lot longer. It's not just a bag to put them in the fridge. It's remarkable.
We talked before, didn't we? Did we talk before, Carrie? NDIS set of advice. That's really good. Yeah, I remember. You were traveling. I think you were doing. Are you in South Australia still?
Yeah, I've taken myself off mute. I'm in Tasmania at the moment for a couple of months.
I can't hear you. I think your microphone is on.
Yeah. I'm in Tasmania for a couple of months. No. Oh.
I can hear you, but Nita obviously can't. Yeah.
Oh, Really? Caroline, you can hear? Oh, hang on. I'm gonna let me see. Wait.
Can you hear me now, Nita?
I can.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in Tassie for a few months. Yeah, I've done a couple of your other workshops. I think Instagram and Facebook, and I've just learned Instagram, so I'm trying to promote some of my online trainings through my Instagram account.
Good.
Yeah.
So you're in Tassie now?
Yeah, in Tassie for a few months. Yep.
Oh wow, you're lucky. Are you coming to the West? Are we allowed?
Not yet. We do want to come next, so yes, hoping to in a few months' time.
Yeah, we're hoping too. It's funny that I didn't have any plan to travel, but now because he says we can, I want to go.
Yep.
But that's really good. I'm glad things are moving forward with you. How you going, Wendy? Wendy, you're good. What about you? Caroline, do you have a website?
Either it's Wendy here. Yeah, I was talking before, but obviously you couldn't hear us until you took your phones out.
Yeah.
I was saying we're about to build a new website, but our bags are designed to keep your vegetables fresher for longer, and so they will last like weeks longer than they normally do. So it's an all natural, 100% hemp product, and so reduce food waste, reduce plastic exposure to your food, etc.
Oh, that's really good. I'm so busy. I'm going to tell you, I haven't been since the business and the business station and everything. I actually buy my food pre-made.
Well, these are really good for busy people too, because you don't have to go shopping as often because your fruit and veggies last longer. Because some people go shopping every day. I don't know how they can do that, but yeah, like things that like celery will last for probably 3 weeks or 4 weeks and things like that. So yeah, it's a big saving in time as well as money and
the environment. Yeah, the waste.
Absolutely, yeah.
With I love salad. Like salad is my favorite food. I don't know what it is. I just love the freshness of it and the amount of time I've thrown out because I didn't get a chance to do something. And I was looking at it thinking, oh my God, this is really good for someone like me.
Yep, they work, absolutely. Yeah. We have the fabric specially woven for us, so yeah, it's good.
Hi, Caroline, look at her face now. Personal travel manager. Oh my God, COVID has affected you. How are you doing now? I see you. Where are you?
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I've 12 years in business, all lost everything in within 2 weeks, and yeah, just worked pretty well for JobKeeper for however long that went on for. It's been a pretty difficult time. Just starting to recover at the moment, but seem to have lost a bit of my passion. I've been in the industry for 37 years. It's what I do. It's what I've known all of my life. So, yeah, I'm actually just trying to create I've started a new niche, which is crochet escapes. And because I love crochet, that's been my therapy for the last 2 years. And there's a really big network of ladies out there, and it's a really growing niche. So yeah, I'm looking at maybe doing some packages for crochet escapes, still under the Travel Managers banner.
Okay, all right. So when you say crochet escape, so where are we escaping? Like, is there an event?
Yeah, so I've done a couple of retreats locally in WA because I'm in Perth. And my plan is to, well, actually, the day that WHO announced the pandemic, like 2 years ago, I was about to launch a crochet cruise down the West Coast. It was all in place. I'd spent day and night planning it. I had all of the processes and back office sorted because I knew it was going to sell like hotcakes, and then so it's sitting there in the background just waiting to be launched when cruising is a thing again. So yeah, it's been a really difficult 2 years, but yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah, just hang in there. I know it's been really difficult, and I really hope he opens the borders. I think it's just I know there's a lot of businesses that are struggling at the moment, so I really hope in travel and hospitality industry. Like, I travel a lot to down south in Donsborough, and I've never seen it so dead. Like, I'm not dead as in people are there, but businesses don't have staff. They're struggling because most of the, like, for us, backpackers has been the best staff for the hospitality.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. Anyway, hang in there.
Yes.
So this crochet, something WA. I didn't know. See, this is really good.
Yeah, I've only had this. I've only got the Facebook group set up because I wanted to grow the crochet community. So if you actually hang on, I'll just try and find the link, and then you can join that. Just 2 seconds.
You want to share it here?
Yeah, and look, honestly, it's such a fabulous thing these days for people to. There's a lot of ladies that just need something as an outlet, and it's very productive and you're creative, and it's just become so popular and everybody is really, really loving it. So I'm just copying the link now for you, and I will post it there so you can see. Go back to there.
Interested, check it out.
Say again?
No, I'm just saying to the other ladies, if Wendy and Carrie, if you're interested, check it out and see. Because I've actually heard, I've got a client in the US, and he was telling me that they use this because he is a coach, but there is so many anxiety when it comes to anxiety. So he coaches men,
right?
The stresses of work and business, and when they're striving. Some of us strive too much to the point of killing ourselves. So he was actually telling me what I could not believe. He said there are some male groups that they do crocheting to relax them. And it's fascinating. And I'm like, oh my God, and why not? And the thing, like with female, he was telling me it's easier with females. With us, apparently, we talk about it, but when it comes to male, because there's that his bias thing that they're so afraid to say that to relax me, and they keep it quiet.
Yeah. Look, I mean, exactly like what is it Wendy's saying right now. There's, craft is such a therapeutic thing that, and in today's society where everybody's so busy and going crazy all the time, just being able to tap into that creative side and relax, and for your mental health, like particularly for my mental health, trying to deal with the credits and refunds endlessly and looking after my clients and, taking on all of their disappointment that they couldn't travel. And it was just, it was such a tough gig, and it's still ongoing. Like I haven't really had an income, well, at least for nearly 18 months at least. And, when you're talking about losing your, your profitability from, like mine is under the zero, like when it's not just, it's minus 76%. It's not like I bottomed out and I've been getting income back from the previous year in credits and refunds. So, I mean, it's diabolical what the industry's been through. But yeah, look, you got to try and keep positive, and that's why I got into crochet. Well, no, I was already doing it, but I decided that I was going to, create this niche, and so far so good. So I've got the community happening now, and then once travel gets into it a little bit better, then I'd be able to market to that group. So that's
absolutely
the method in the madness.
Wendy, Carrie is saying that you can promote there are Facebook pages or groups that we Wiki Camps users group and Planning a Lap of Australia, etc. You can do that as well. Did you know about those groups?
I didn't know about those ones, no, but yeah, look, that's interesting. I'll have a look at that for sure.
And do you run workshops? Do you run face-to-face ones?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yeah, actually, every fortnight I run a social group at Portofino's down at Mindarie, and for 2 hours it's just a social get together, and everybody brings their crochet projects along, and yeah, and we all help each other out, and we've really created some beautiful friendships out of it. So yeah, it's yeah.
I live in Kalamunda, so I'm
yeah.
My sister lives in Ocean Reef, and I see if I can make a little date with her and I come over.
Yeah. Well, I've got some people come from all over. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely send me an email with the details, and
Okay.
I've been so busy, but I need to spend time. We lost our mum last year, so we can spend time together. So but I would love to come. It's for me, I have to pack my a lunch for the way, and
it's not that far anymore, really. I go to other groups, and I go right down to Maddington from my place. It's easy trek these days. We just spent the last weekend in York actually on a crochet retreat.
Oh, good. That's really good.
Yeah. So anyway, my link there if my group is there, if you're interested.
Thank you.
Jump on, and have a look and see, and what we can create these days, ladies, out of crochet is incredible. Don't think of old granny squares anymore. It is a huge new revolution.
That's what I was thinking. I'm probably thinking if I tell my sister, she's gonna look at me like, what?
Wendy, it's up about 4 posts up.
This is the group. I'll post it again. This is the group, Wendy.
The Facebook group. Yeah,
yes.
That's it. Yeah, so have a look at stuff. Yeah, fascinating. And I always post I take pictures of everybody's projects each fortnight when they come, and blow everybody's whistle, and everyone gets to see how wonderful the work is. So yeah, very good. All right, I'll let you go. I've got to run. I've got something, another appointment, so I need to go. But lovely to meet you all, and all the best.
Thank you. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Kerry. Do you have any? Bye, Caroline. Bye. Do you have any questions? No, Wendy. Bye. Kerry, you good? Oh, Kerry's gone. Wendy, you good?
I'm good. Thank you very much. That was great.
Bye. You're okay? Is all good? No question? Not a problem. Bye. Hopefully see you in WA. Bye.